everybody. How is everyone today? Thanks for coming back. Or if you're new, joining my new podcast. It's only been out for a few weeks. I have 9 subscribers now. So if you're enjoying yourself, please give me a thumbs up and also subscribe. And if you want to leave comments, you always can. So today's mystery is very exciting. We are going way back in time. We are going to talk to the princes in the tower. Now, these 2 boys, 9 and 12, were the princes of Edward IV and Elizabeth Woodville. Edward IV was king, and so Edward V would have been next in line, and then after following would be his brother Richard of Shrewbury, the boys. So Edward, the king, Edward IV, he suddenly passes away. And so it should have been Edward V coming onto the throne. However, the evil brother of the king, Richard III, wanted the throne. So, as far as my research can tell, it's assumed, because of course there's no written documentation, but it is assumed that Richard III had Edward V, the to-be king, who was 12, taken to the London Tower. Shortly thereafter, following, he also had his brother Richard of Shrewbury, who was 9, taken up there too. And after that, no sign of them was ever to be heard or seen from again. So there was this whole thing how they still had to manipulate the royal world to make this happen. So I have my notes because, it's hard to remember everything. So Richard III needed a reason to take the throne. So he had this guy named Robert Stillington, who was considered Bishop of Wells. And this Robert dude said that he witnessed a pre-contract for Edward to have married a woman by the name of Eleanor Butler, who was a noble woman who came from a very prominent family. Now, Edward IV, the king that died suddenly, when he had married Elizabeth Woodville, she was a widow and a commoner. Her family were military. And so she didn't have the nobility that this Eleanor Butler had. And this contract, this thing called a pre-contract, it's also called canon law. That's actually as strong as being married. So Richard III's argument was, because this Robert Stillington witnessed this pre-contract, that Elizabeth's marriage was not, it was void. It didn't supersede the canon law. So that made her 2 sons, the princes, next in line, illegitimate for the throne. And that is how the king's brother, Richard III, took the throne and took the boys to the tower and put Elizabeth in or she ran, or she got out of there and went into isolation. And that is where we're at. So the mystery is, who actually put the boys there? What happened to the boys? Because the story gets better. So here we go. Now, we're going to pull a few cards, and then I have already spoken to them. They're all 3 here. The villain, Richard III, is here. And then the 2 princes. They said they would stand by, so hopefully they still are standing by. And we will speak to them. Okay, but let me go ahead and tell you just very quickly. In the 1600s, I can't remember the exact date. I want to say 1673 or something. 24. They were remodeling the London Tower, and behind a staircase, they found a small wooden box. And they brought it out. It was rotting. It was moldy. It was nasty. They opened it up, and they found 2 skeletons of young children. So then it was assumed at that point that those were the princes because they were found in the tower. So we are going to get into all that. First, I'm going to pull some cards from my Dormant Tarot deck, and let's see where this takes us. If we need to ask, I have questions lined up, but if we need to ask anything else, or if there's something I'm just not like getting to. All right. So let's questions for the princes, and I'm pulling them out. There we go. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, I think that they're still in the house because I think that they want their story told. So they're here trying to make things happen. Their reign was stolen. They're here to talk about what happened, and they're here. All the secrets, they're lighting up what they went through, and they want to set the record straight. All the delusion, here we go. Delusion, all the fantasy, reasoning, and all that. They're here to set the record straight. So this is exciting because I think we're really going to sit here and talk to them. This is going to be amazing. All right. So we're going to start with the boys first. Now, earlier I was talking to them, and I was talking to them by themselves, but also they kind of came in together. I could feel them like talking at the same time. So let's just see how it's going to go. To the princes of the tower, Edward V and Richard of Shrewbury. Edward V, can you please tell me, are you here? Yes. Richard of Shrewbury, Prince Richard of Shrewbury, are you here with us as well? Yes, you are. Well, I welcome you both, and I'm glad that you're hanging out to talk to us because I think the world and history really wants some specific answers to a lot of these questions. So let me ask you this. When your father, a hug to your dad. When your father would have been Edward IV, surprisingly died. Edward V, were you just taken to the London Tower? Yes. Were you by yourself when you were taken to the London Tower? Yes. Okay. Well, that must have been very scary for you. Were you given food while you were there? Food and water? Yes. Shortly thereafter, history says that your brother joined you, Richard of Shrewbury. He was 9, you were 12. Did Richard? Yes. Yes, he did join you. So you guys were together. Yes. Okay. Richard of Shrewbury, were you surprised to have been taken to the tower? Yes. Were you happy to see your brother? Yes. Yes. Okay. Were you both scared? Yes. Were you once you were together in the tower, were you treated well? No. Well, that's very heartbreaking. Can you tell me, when you were together in the tower, were you fed properly? Were you given water? Yes. Were you cold? Yes. Was there anybody there being held with you? No. All right. Was there anybody there that stayed with you where you were locked in? Yes. Okay. Was that person nice to you? No. Okay. Were you locked in the tower for a few months? No. Were you locked in the tower for a year? Let me try that again. I'm so sorry. Were you locked in the tower for what you thought would be at least a year? Yes. Were you locked in the tower for what you would have thought more than 2 years? No. No. Were you told why you were locked in the tower? Yes. Was the reason you were locked in the tower to keep you from being king? Yes. Were you told who locked you in the tower? Yes. Was it your uncle, Richard III? Yes. Did Richard III ever come visit you while you were locked in the tower? Yes. Was Richard III nice to you when he came to visit you? No. Is Richard III responsible for your disappearance and demise? Yes. Okay. Well, goodness, you had a time, and that is just terrible. And respectfully, I appreciate you enlightening us on your story. If you want to hang out, you can, in case we have more questions. At this point, I'm going to bring in the villain, Richard III, because he is a villain. Richard III, are you here with, you're trying to tell me you're not a villain. Yeah. I got it. Okay, never mind. Richard III, are you with us? Richard III, are you with us? Yes. Richard III, King Richard III, is that what you would rather be referred to as? You're indifferent. Okay. King Richard III, did you steal the throne from the two princes? Yes. While you were alive, did you ever have any guilt for what you did to those boys? Okay. Yes. When you visited the boys in the tower, did you have any guilt at all while you were taking the throne? No. Richard III, the villain. Were the boys the skeletons that were found in the box behind the staircase in the tower when it was renovated in the 1600s? Yes. Are you responsible for those actions? Sorry. Richard III, are you responsible for those actions? He doesn't want to answer. Was it under your authority that the boys were never let out of the tower? Yes. Okay. All right. I don't want to talk to you anymore, Richard III. You are a villain. Don't like you at all. All right. So that was fascinating. I mean, now it gets, let's get into today, because in 1933, the bones were at this point in an urn at some point, and they were in really bad shape. The mold and the water and everything from the wooden crate had desecrated them terribly. Scientists were able to determine that most likely they were the skeletal remains of a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old. However, they could not determine the sex. They also couldn't perform any additional genetic experiments because the bones were in such terrible shape. So that's really quite a bummer. But they did determine. So I would have to say, I'm sorry, I'm going with the princes. And the villain, he said it himself. I think it was them that were found. And I think that Richard III did it because he wanted to be king. And I would have to go with all of that. So fascinating story. Oh my gosh, I don't know what our next mystery is going to be, but it's going to continue on to be really fun and exciting, whether it's 50 years ago or back into ancient times. We've got a list. So if you have any mysteries that you want us to, or me to, research and ask yes and no questions and get my Dormant Taroty deck out to see where it goes with that mystery, please put it in the comments. You can also email me at tarotsphere25@gmail.com. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you've enjoyed. I'm up to 9 subscribers, so I'm very excited. Keep it going. And then I wanted to let you know tomorrow night is the second of our 3-part series for Halloween. In the evening, we will be opening the door. I'll have my sidekicks over there on the couch, and we're going to have people coming in, and hopefully we'll be talking to more people from the realm of the unknown, and it's going to be so much fun. So I hope you'll be watching for that episode as well. Well, y'all have a great day, and we will be chatting very soon.